Okay, this one is interesting. It turns out that there is piling evidence to suggest that Wumpa League may have been rebranded to something akin to Crash Bash. Let's talk about it.
Whoa!
What's up, guys? Canadian Guy here, and back with, well, an interesting Wumpa League video. So by now, we know so much about Wumpa League before it has even been announced, like how many maps there were, how many heroes were planned, and just a whole slew of information. But we also knew when it was initially supposed to launch, which was about October 2021. That, of course, did not happen. So, what's the deal? Well, there's been a theory bouncing around on Twitter and within my own mind the past few months. One that I spoke about on live streams, but just didn't quite have enough evidence to pull the trigger on a video. However, two events just recently happened that has connected and finally made a lot more sense. It's possible that Wumpa League was shelved, delayed, and restarted as a Crash Bash spin-off. Let's begin. First things first, let us set down once and for all that this moment here in the PlayStation Showcase is 100% a Crash Bandicoot reference. PlayStation had released a webpage that allowed you to pause the video and find all 30 references that they jammed into the video. Lo and behold, when you stop at the Queen and the Chopper, it shows that it is a reference to, specifically, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, calling it the Wumpa and Gem sticker. But this sticker doesn't actually show up in the game, ever. The only time it ever shows up is in the Crash 25th Anniversary Celebration video, where Avery Lodato says,
"Happy 25th anniversary, Crash. We'll see more of you very soon."
So again, he himself even said that we would be seeing more of him soon. Now, remember those Wumpa packages that went out? Well, a good friend of the channel, Wumpa Lewis, finally got his. More packages are still popping up here and there across social media for some random reason. But this time, this had a bit of a catch to it. See, with Wumpa Lewis getting his package on October 29th, that must have meant that it was just lost in the mail, right? Actually, no. According to a private conversation Wumpa Lewis and I had, he said that it was next day delivery, so they literally chose to send it yesterday. Yesterday being October 28th. So a whole month and a bit later after the anniversary celebration, they decided to send Wumpa Lewis a package? That's a little bit weird. But again, when I received the package, it came with a card that literally has the word League on it, a piñata, and a hammer. On that hammer is a different looking Wumpa League logo that we're used to. In fact, it's the new one that we saw both in the PlayStation commercial and in the 25th anniversary video. The first one that we find after 106%ing the game on the TV is orange and blue. This one, however, is blue and red. Why the change? Well, we'll get to that. But obviously, between the creation of the dev board, where we see early iterations of the logo on the TV after 106%ing the game, and when the new Wumpa League logo came out, something internally happened to force a brand change for some reason. But normally, these packages have some meaning to them. They don't just send something unrelated out and hope that people get excited. When the purple eggs for Spyro came out, they obviously refer to, of course, dragon eggs, but also the fact that in Spyro 1 and Spyro 3, you have to collect eggs. For CTR, they released orange dice, which is decor that is used for race cars. Crash 4 literally sent out puzzles with a picture of Kapunawa on it. So every package has a meaning to the franchise. So what does a piñata and a wooden hammer have to do with Crash Bandicoot? Well, a piñata is typically used at parties, and it just so happens that Crash Bash is considered as a party game. But what about the hammer? Well, I searched through all of Crash Bandicoot, and there is only one time in the franchise history that a wooden hammer is ever used. Can you guess when? Yep, Crash Bash, in the minigame Mallet Mash. And it's interesting because there are, in fact, wooden mallets that are in the exact same shape as the mallet that we received and is held by the main characters, like Crash and Coco. But that's all the evidence that we have of Crash Bash being related to Wumpa League, right? Right? Actually, no. there's more. Remember how I said sometime internally there seemed to be a brand shift? Yeah, this is where we talk about that. Take a look at this Wumpa sticker. Once again, when the game launched, this was the Wumpa League logo that was teased on the TV when you 106% the game. Now here's the new logo. We shifted from orange and blue to a red and a lighter blue. Why is this important? Well, these exact colors have shown up before. Can you guess where? When you go to the character select screen for Crash Bash, it is made up of two teams, blue team and red team. Take a look at the colors though of the teams and of the Wumpa coin. In fact, let me do a color swatch comparison. The colors are almost identical, right to the shade of blue and red. But the blue and red doesn't stop there. Time to go on the run. Crash on the Run has had many different skins since day one. With each update that they release, they bring out new skins. In one of the updates, Crash is wearing a sports uniform that is two-toned, blue and red. And again, they are the exact same tones that is related to the new Wumpa League logo. But here's where things begin to connect. When you spin Crash to his back, you can see it has, in big letters, the word Bash, as in Crash Bash. This blue and red motif seems to be spreading through more and more recently in the Crash franchise. But this is when things get interesting. On October 27th, Crash on the Run released a dev update, basically saying that the seasons are going to be paused for a little bit as they continue to make content and improvements to the game, leading into 2022. I do think there is a reason to this, and I'll explain later. On November 11th, I was working on a video when suddenly my Battle.net launcher told me that it was updating some games. Now, I play World of Warcraft, StarCraft, and even Hearthstone, and I didn't pay any mind to it. That was until someone mentioned on Twitter that their Crash Bandicoot 4 had updated. Abdul the Arabic guy messaged me and we began to investigate. I looked on my PlayStation 5 and found nothing. But when I looked at my PC version, boy was I surprised to find out that Crash Bandicoot 4 did indeed update on Battle.net. Abdul opened his Battle.net launcher for the first time since October and found that Crash Bandicoot 4 had an update waiting for him. I went through all the files and found that the .pack files were altered, but I could not find what the differences were. But there was one file that was changed that I could access. And while it seemed that nothing changed, according to the metadata, it was deleted and a new one was replaced. It was the Hardsuit Labs stinger at the beginning of Crash Bandicoot 4 for PC, the team who helped port the game to Battle.net. Now, because I'm a lunatic, I have the files of Crash Bandicoot 4 for PC from day one copied and set aside with no updates applied to it, just in case there was differences that I could find. When we compare the Hardsuit Labs intros between day 1 and November 11th, there is absolutely no difference whatsoever. So, what gives? Why were the .pack files and the stinger file updated? So, I decided to go to the Hardsuit Labs website to explore a little bit. And when I went to the jobs section, I found something extremely interesting. Hardsuit Labs is a studio that specializes in the Unreal Engine, so it makes sense for Activision to choose them to help support Crash Bandicoot. And in all their job applications, they are looking for someone with heavy experience in the Unreal Engine. But for one job in particular, something interesting pops up. When you look at the job for Gameplay Engineer, they give you an overview of what the job is. Quote, Hardsuit Labs is looking for a self-motivated, collaborative, and enthusiastic gameplay engineer to join a seasoned team working on an unannounced title for PC and consoles. This is an opportunity to work with a successful engineering team on a fast-paced, competitive, cooperative, multiplayer game. Doesn't fast-paced, competitive, and cooperative sound a lot like Crash Bash? Now, to some, this might seem like a reach, and I'll be honest with you, at first I did as well. Until this happened. I received a message from a prominent member in the Crash and Spyro community, Dazzling Dazad, where Abo7 Mead had found something interesting in the Google Play Store when it came to Crash on the Run. That on November 11th, King released a patch to the test regions. Basically, they sometimes release patches in certain specific regions before sending it out to the world, and it just so happens that Canada is one of those regions. Now, it's not a big patch, it basically is giving better visuals and improved tutorial levels, but when you take a look at the patch description in the Google Play Store, it literally says, "Get ready for Crash Bash update." Now, if you've been paying attention, This update was sent out the exact same day as when that random PC update came out for Crash Bandicoot, updating the random stinger for Hardsuit Labs. Now, there's one more connection I want to make. Remember how the Crash on the Run devs released that statement saying that they need more time for content for seasons and such for 2022? Take a look at the dev board that was leaked. See where Wumpa League was initially gonna launch? That's right, in and around October. Isn't it interesting that right when Wumpa League was supposed to initially launch is when Crash on the Run says that they need more time for content in 2022? My thoughts is that Crash on the Run was supposed to have seasons and content based on Wumpa League, but because Wumpa League has seemingly been massively delayed and possibly even completely revamped, they couldn't be ready for content that they didn't have. So they are taking this time to improve Crash on the Run and make it better, while also creating content that is related to the new and upcoming, seemingly, Crash Bash Wumpa League. There is stacking evidence to suggest that the next entry in Crash Bandicoot, free to play or not, seems to be related to Crash Bash. But will it work? What games could you play? When is it going to be announced? Why was it changed? What happened? Make sure to subscribe as I continue to investigate this rabbit hole that is Wumpa League. Thank you so much to all those who not only support the channel, but myself and my family. Because of your contributions, I'm able to do this full time. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider clicking the join button or becoming a Patreon with the link in the description. I also live stream every Thursday and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on by and say hi. Again, thank you to everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next video and or live stream.